Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Unboxing Sci Comm. I'm Jamie Gallagher. Welcome to your Friday afternoon. Welcome to my little flat in Glasgow. Welcome to YouTube, to Twitch, to whatever platform you're choosing. Hi, Nate. Yay. I don't even have to ask Nate to say hello, and he's saying hello. Please do use the chat box. You know I love some chat. So do say hello. Let us know where you are. Actually, you don't need to tell us what platform you're watching on because I can see. If I click a little button, where's the little button? I can do this. We can see that Nate's watching on YouTube. Hi Nate. But from far, far away because Nate lives in foreign lands now, tinkering with little robots. Welcome to this session. I said welcome to Friday, but I shouldn't even say that because days are meaningless. Or is it just me? Time is just a meaningless concept now. It's all just a blur of Zoom calls. There's no day. There's no Friday. Anyway, we're here. Welcome to Unboxing Sci Comm. Again, I've said that. I'm just going to say it on a loop until you feel welcomed. I'm Jamie Gallagher, and I'm a science communicator, engagement trainer, and consultant, and I like to talk to people about engagement. I like to find out about their engagement world, and if you've joined us for any of the others in the series, you've already seen lots of different aspects of science communication. We started off with comedian and broadcaster Robin Ince talking about his extraordinary year of running a million online events. We also last week we had Sally, so we took a dive into the YouTube realm, and in week 2, Neil Montero having a little bit of an argument over the benefits and the disadvantages of evaluation. We're here today for another look at Sci Comm, but from a different point of view. Again, I'm really excited today because it's a lovely friend that I've got joining me today that I've known for years and years and years. And so please welcome to this little virtual stage another powerhouse, expertise-laden, extraordinary human being. Welcome to Sci Comm, Marieke Navin. Hello.
Hi, what a wonderful intro. Thanks, Jamie.
I don't even know what to say.
Having me.
I always say I hate introducing people and I could just list all the compliments and the wonderful things that I think about you, but we do only have half an hour, so there isn't time for that. So just for anyone that has not encountered Marieke Navin before, who are you and what do you do?
So, I am the head of programming for the Cheltenham Science Festival, and I have kind of done my career really has been focused around science festivals. So, I worked for 10 years at the Museum of Science and Industry in Manchester. So, that was around the Manchester Science Festival, but also the year-round programme at the museum. And then, and now I just do pure science festival, Cheltenham. So it's just basically once a year, a big celebration of science where we just create really unique experiences for people. We get the best people to talk about big ideas and big hot topics in science, basically what the general public want to know about. And we give the general public an opportunity to get up close and personal with the people who are at the coalface of scientific research.
I love the fact that you said I just run a festival and once a year, as though I know what goes into Cheltenham Science Festival. It's not
No.
I just organise Cheltenham Science Festival once a year, when I can be bothered. It's huge. It's absolutely massive in scale.
The
And it's
festival life is a funny life. Your whole year revolves around this one big thing, this big celebration. And so your whole year is a cycle. I can tell you what I do every month of every year, in the build up to June when the festival is. And yeah, it's a funny life. You go from year on year, festival to festival. I think it's a great way to live. I love it.
And I mentioned Cheltenham Science Festival a lot in my training. We'll cover my love for Cheltenham Science Festival later, I'm sure. But just when we're talking about that kind of yearly cycle, the Science Festival takes place in June every year. So tell us when you start contacting people. If the festival is going to take place in June, when do your ideas start forming and when do contacts start going out?
July. No, the proper answer to that actually, Jamie, is that it's ongoing all the time. And one of the key things about doing a good science festival is not just thinking about the next festival and forward planning, 3 to 5 years ahead, and thinking about the longer term vision of your festival and where that festival's going. But in terms of the year schedule, July is kind of like early ideas, and that's a time when I like to get out and about as well and go to other festivals and see what else is going on, not just in science festival world, but music festivals and other arts festivals and other creative festivals, because really at the heart of what we're doing with the science festival is actually science just as a normal part of culture. So really look into all art forms for inspiration, and how to bring science to life to people. And then the key programming time is really from summer, August, through to Christmas. And that's when we're working up ideas, events, inviting people, talking to people. And I'm out and about, going to London or going to all places really, meeting with people, advisors, friends at the festival, scientists. What are you working on? What's your big thing? What's the next big thing? Putting the ideas together and getting invitations out for people. Then January is when the sort of the highest pressure month of the year, actually, apart from the festival itself, because you've got to get the program to bed, get the brochure done, get it out to the printers. We're not doing printed programs anymore, which is brilliant. Now we've moved to the digital. But yeah, January is when you're getting it all boxed off. And then really then March to the festival, it's all about operations and, planning for the live event. And that just ramps up then month on month, getting ready to delivering the festival, which is normally a 6-day festival, first week of June, with a big, beautiful festival village, like a big site where we build all these tents and experiences. So we have a mixture of ticketed events where you come and sit down, it's like going to the theatre, you watch a show, down to free, hands-on, doing experiments in the field, chatting with scientists. So we normally have this really gorgeous festival site, which just feels like a real celebration. But we're not having that this year, obviously, because of COVID, but we are doing, live events, which, physical events, which I'm really pleased about, because we had to go online this year, as you know.
We will. We'll come on to what 2020 festival looked like and what 2021 is going to look like as well. But before we delve into that, I thought, both of us have a long history with Cheltenham Science Festival. I think I've taken part in about 10 different Cheltenham Science Festivals, and I thought we'd just rewind to kind of when you started with Cheltenham as well.
Yeah.
So my first Cheltenham Science Festival experience, about 2011, I was down as a training exercise and did a week-long intensive training at Cheltenham Science Festival, watching shows, preparing shows. And I remember actually after that going away and thinking I was so sad that I was leaving and that I would never be back. Chances are I was like, this is it. I've had my experience, and I loved it so much, and I was sad that I'd never be back. Little did I know I'd be back year on year for 10 years. So what brought you to Cheltenham Science Festival first before you even worked there?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked that, actually, because you and I both came for the Famelab competition, didn't we? So Famelab is 15 years, it's been going for 15 years, and it was launched as a competition to train scientists in science communication. So it's all about scientists being able to make a really great story from their scientific research and really break it down. They only talk about it for 3 minutes, and they're judged on content, clarity, and charisma. And so it really is just about getting those punchy messages of why you're doing research. And so back in 2007, I was part of that competition. So yeah, quite a long time ago now. And yeah, it's a national competition. So there were people from all over the UK. And we went down, like you, we watched loads of shows. It was the first time I'd ever been to a science festival, took part in the competition. I didn't win the competition, but I came runner-up, so that was nice. But like you, when I came away after that first festival, I was like you, I was really sad. I'd had such a great time, made all these connections, loved it. And I was like, I am going back next year. And they couldn't get rid of me. And I went back for the next 12 years straight.
Until you took over it.
Get rid of you, just come and work for us. So kind of, I had 2 babies in that time, and the 2 babies didn't stop me coming. I was just, didn't want to let it go because I loved it so much. So yeah, it's been a really nice transition to go from being a performer And, I came back every year and we did a family show as part of the family program
With
with
the Famelab people.
the people who had done Famelab with me. Yeah, so we've kept those relationships, and we did a new show every year. It was always a brilliant challenge every year to create something new and unique for the festival. And they couldn't get rid of me, and now they're stuck with me.
I love it. And even the fact that you're coming back with the people that you did Famelab with, because, I do a lot of Famelab training and organising competitions, as, Nate's watching, and Nate obviously knows all about Famelab as well. And it is a competition, but somehow by the end of it, you don't feel like you're competing against the other people you're with, because you've gone on such a kind of journey with them that you do genuinely form friendships. And I'm still in contact with the people I did Famelab with. And so it's amazing how it does actually bring you all together. And it's really lovely to see you coming back year after year with that same group.
I think that's one of the really important things about that Famelab network. It is about that group of people. The competition isn't the main part of it, is it? That's, that just gives it a bit of pizzazz, I suppose. But the main thing is that kind of networking and collaboration with people. And for the Science Festival, from our side, it's how we develop our talent, a talent pipeline way into the festival. One of the ways that we look for, a diverse mix of different voices, younger up-and-coming scientists, how they get into the festival, because it can be quite hard. The Science Festival uses a lot of really established big names, big voices in science. So Famelab is really a way in for younger, early career scientists. And that's really important for the future of the Science Festival. We want to be developing those voices and training those scientists in really great communication with the general public.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. So if you've not seen Famelab before, then check it out. There's links to Cheltenham Science Festival down below in the description if you're not already familiar with the festival, and that'll take you through and you can learn a lot more about that. So now, with all the guests I've been delving into what 2020 has kind of looked like for them, and in particular, I thought your experience would be really unique, because I think that Cheltenham Science Festival was one of the first big organisations to make a really clear decision early on. So I would, if it's not too painful, like you to kind of rewind back to this time last year, as things are shutting down, as things are locked down, the festival programme already, as you said, already planned, because it's planned in January. You have this programme ready, the UK is locking down. How does it feel, and what was the kind of thinking process behind the festival last year?
Yeah, it's a great question in terms of like we talked about the year-round cycle as well. And what a day to ask me, because isn't it this a year today when this was the last day of school, wasn't it? And, I remember this day so clearly because I've got 2 kids at home, single mom. And I remember picking them up from school that day and thinking, like, how am I going to manage from next week when the kids are at home? Like, I was incredibly, incredibly stressed, like a lot of people. I think I was in denial at first, Jamie, that the festival wasn't going to happen. The fact that everything was going to get cancelled, I didn't really believe it for a while. And then we were planning an event around, contagion and viruses. And the scientist that was involved in that sent me a message probably a year ago today saying, there's no way I'm planning for live events in June, forget it. And this was from, somebody who studied viruses and really understood that. And I was just like, no, surely not. And then in terms of like the year, like you said, we had the brochure and it had just gone to the printers and it was, ready to go on ice. So when it came down to the point where, look, this festival's not happening and everything was getting cancelled, for me, it was quite key to move quite quickly to make the decision to not cancel. And actually, I think in the organisation in Cheltenham Festivals, everyone was just thinking we'll cancel. We'll just postpone it for next year. Or people were talking about postponing it actually till later in the year. And I really thought quite quickly to say, look, we have this dates, the dates are all planned, for the Science Festival. Let's see what we can do online. And so we could cherry pick from the brochure events to move to digital. The first thing we had to do was, first there was sort of like the convincing of the Cheltenham Festivals, like internally. So I just really put a case for we could be one of the first, and we were, like you said, we were one of the first science festivals to go online, one of the first online science festivals. The Cosmic Shambles team, you had Robin on a few weeks, they went straight away to, live digital events. So I was kind of really inspired by what Robin was doing. But one of the first things we had to do was talk to our corporate sponsors and see if they wanted to come with us on this digital journey. And brilliantly and fantastically, the majority of them kind of wanted to come with us and to see, everyone knew that we had to make a change, and people didn't want to cancel. The main thing was that people didn't want to cancel, wanted to go ahead. And I think in terms of the audience were the same. They were really kind of forgiving. Everyone knew. One of our sort of fears internally was, we're not really that set up in the digital. We don't have a lot of digital skills in the team, or, that's not what we do. We do live events, we do these tents, and we're brilliant at putting on amazing shows, but we'd never really done it in the digital. But I think the audiences were so forgiving at that time. There was just a lot of love for it. And when the corporate sponsors were keen to come on board, we would go, and the next few months, March through to June, we just didn't stop, and we decided to do this pre-recorded festival. So everything was recorded over Zoom. You recorded a show, a family show for us, with Nate, and I'm sure Katie's probably watching as well. And we just didn't stop, did we? It was like to get this thing together that went out over 6 days, and it wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect, and it was hard bloody work. I wouldn't necessarily do the same thing again. With hindsight, we learned so much. And what Robin does, doing it live, just is such a kind of a better idea in a way, because you don't have to do all that pre-recording. There's Trent now. Yeah, what Trent does is you don't have to do all that pre-recording and all that editing and all that time-consuming stuff, and I really kind of respect that. But we just didn't have the confidence that we'd have the tech to carry that off, so that's why we made the decision that we did. Yeah. And we've got that. That first online science festival is under our belt now. The future is a hybrid science festival. So shall I tell you, Jamie, about what a hybrid model looks like?
Yeah, we'll come to that in just a second. I did just want to just kind of say, it seems now almost an easy thing, like, oh, of course you just moved online, everything is moving online. But for me, it was that time frame that you did it, like to decide in March, right, we go for this, we jump in. That was actually a huge decision at the time, because where are you going to carry on? Where are you going to postpone? Would this be fixed in a few months' time? It took guts to really do that. The other thing I just wanted to say as well, Trent's Trent's agreeing, we're very inspiring. Yeah. If you're not, many people watching will not be familiar with Trent's work, but if you've seen anything that Robin Ince has produced in the past year, Trent has been there. When Trent is happy with the event you've done, like a huge amount of expertise there. He's showing us all how to do it, really, with the Cosmic Shambles network stuff. Let's think about as we move on. So we managed through a very hastily kind of put together program, big changes. 2020 was delivered. I think it went fantastically well for such a short time scale. Yeah, and then definitely. We're moving on. So taking that learning from 2020, moving forward, what was the thinking for the next year, and how has that gone?
Yeah. So a couple of things to say on this. So one of the kind of positives of the pandemic was that it forced an organisation like Cheltenham Festivals to move into this digital realm, which was always something that was, very sort of scary prospect, to do. And it forced us to do it. And then by going onto the digital, you're just breaking down all those barriers to accessing the science festival, because you don't have to be on a seat in Cheltenham to enjoy that amazing content. So I love that. So one of the main things that we don't want to lose is that digital audience, that worldwide reach to get you outside of Cheltenham. So the future's looking like a hybrid festival. So what that means is you're doing live, physical, in-person events in your venues, but they're filmed and then streamed to a digital audience. So there's an audience there, and probably because we're early June, it's still going to be a small, socially distanced audience. They're going to be wearing face masks. There's going to be lots of, COVID security around, ways in and out, airflow, sanitizer, small numbers of people, face masks, all of that. But you do have that element there of the live audience, and then you've got the digital output as well. So you're kind of ticking all of the boxes. So for thinking about 2021, we already had that brochure that was on ice. We had cherry picked out the events that we moved to online, but we still had this really big brochure of stuff to rejuvenate for 2021. So it was really nice for the team to go back to that brochure and be like, right, what are we gonna pick up? What's, is this still relevant? Are these still the best people? Is this still the best topic? So we didn't have to start the festival from scratch this year because we already had that great program on ice. So that was lovely to be able to bring that to life, what had been shelved last year. And we've got a lovely theme. It's called Be the Change, and it's got a focus on young activism and a cohort of youth activists to bring that younger voice into the festival. They're such a brilliant group. I can't wait to work with them. But this year we've not been able to make the site, this lovely free festival-y type place. So, and we decided to keep the schools program as digital because we just, there's no way that schools are going to get out this year. So we've still got that digital element. We've still got that pre-recorded element for the schools program. So we've got a bit of everything really. And then we decided to reduce the number of days. It's normally a 6-day festival. We're doing it over 4 days because it just didn't make sense if you've not got all those school kids coming through every day to build, to have all those days. So it's a smaller thing for this year, and I think trialing this hybrid model, is really exciting.
Different again, new frontiers, and again, I think you'll learn from it. You'll take things that you want to keep and move on. I'm delighted that I'll be back in the program as well. So I'm going to be doing a skills show looking at polymers as well. So thank you for taking us through a very, very turbulent period. I was sharing last year how, for me, it was traumatic. All my work was cancelling. What was I going to do? And I'm one person, and obviously you have a team, and you have sponsors, and you have all of these other communicators that are all part of a huge network of people that you work with. And I can't even imagine how stressful it is to sit in the centre of that and feel the responsibility for all these people as well. But I think you did fantastic. I really, really do. So congratulations on what you and all of Cheltenham Science Festival teams were able to produce. I do want to stick with some challenges a little bit, and I wonder what are the challenges of running a science festival? Because it's not just picking a good event and organising it and put it on stage. There's a lot goes to it. What would you say is the challenge of running a science festival in 2020s?
Yeah, I think one of the big things that for science festivals is around your impact. Science festivals can often be seen as, one-off kind of parties, kind of like flash in the pan once a year. And for like funders and sponsors, this can be seen as a negative because people are really looking for this kind of year-round in-depth engagement. So I'm always challenging that as a director of a science festival, around the fact that actually there is a very important place for that noise that a science festival can generate. It can very often be at the first time that a person who, isn't involved in science and doesn't really think about science, you can make enough noise to attract their attention. And then once they're in, it then becomes about how you manage that engagement with them and how you maintain that engagement with them. So I believe that there's a very important place for science festivals to be that noisy party, big shout of the year. But then you have to look at how you are then maintaining that engagement throughout the year. And so at Cheltenham, we don't have a year-round venue at the moment. We're not, part of a museum or a gallery, but we do have education projects that work all year round. So it's just really communicating that to people who don't know that we're doing that as well as the festivals, and really shouting about the engagement that we're doing in Gloucestershire and beyond, really. I'd say that's a big challenge to everyone in the science festival sector.
Brilliant, thank you. I said it comes back to that year-round event, because although Cheltenham Science Festival is most visible during June. There's a lot going on, and the educational programme doesn't really stop. Trent's in the chat box as well, just saying that basically every event producer is producing 2 events from here on in. You have that in-person event in your head, you also have that online event. Maybe both happen, maybe one happens. Either way, I'll turn up, whatever you want me for. Online, I'm here. On stage, I'm there, wherever. And Nate saying we still need Doctor Who raves. That is a niche reference. You had to be there. Andrew Smith was there. Suze Kundu was there. We had a Doctor Who rave. It was a thing. And Doctor Who raves will live again in Cheltenham.
They will. They will be back.
So let's finish off things here. Our time is running short now. Let's think about the positive then. Let's think, where is science communication going? As festivals are continuing to learn, develop, what's the future of Sci Comm? Where are we going with it?
Gosh, what a big question. So I think from my perspective, a lot of what I'm concerned with is giving scientists an opportunity to speak to the general public, training scientists so that they can speak really clearly without jargon, in a really interesting and engaging way to somebody who thinks necessarily that science isn't for them. So I think ongoing engagement and training with scientists is super crucial. But in terms of like the long-term vision, I'll say this all the time, and a lot of people say this, it's science is a normal part of culture. We still get too many people saying, I don't like science isn't for me. But people don't say that about books. People don't say that about music. Why is it okay to say that about science? That's what I really want to stop that. It's like, it's just part of life. It's part of having fun with your friends and family. It's something that you talk about. What we want to do is really give people the confidence to be able to talk about something that's in the news, to feel empowered that they can have an opinion on it and have a conversation about it with friends and family. Not shy away from it, not just be like, oh, I hated science at school, so therefore I'm completely disengaged from it. It's just about empowering people and getting them to enjoy themselves. It's just all about having a nice time.
Beautifully put. Thank you so much. And that's why you're the director of Cheltenham Science Festival, because I think anyone listening to that is all of a sudden, I could do that. I could do what she's saying, just because that's what you do. You give people the ability to feel like, yes, actually, this monumental thing that is actually terrifying, maybe I can do that. That's like one of the biggest skills that I think you've got. Our time has drawn to a close. I'm acting as my own sundial as well. As you can see, the blinds are now telling me our time is finishing up as I have to get further and further closer to the camera. So our time is up. Thank you very much, Marieke, for sharing for guiding us through what that festival period looked like, for sharing your views so honestly and frankly about science communication. I look forward to being part of Cheltenham Science Festival, albeit virtually, in June. So thank you very much, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
And so that brings this episode to a close as well. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for watching along. Thank you for chatting along. This was the last in the first mini-series of Unboxing Sci Comm, but there is plans afoot to come back. If you're watching and you think, I would like a piece of that, then get in touch. Let me know if you'd like to speak on camera. We will be having a few weeks off, however, because I need to fit these around a very chaotic schedule. So my next few Fridays are taken up, but we will be back soon with more Unboxing Sci Comm, delving into the science communication sector, asking what we need to learn, what we need to unlearn, and just seeing what 2020 was like for other science communicators out there. But for now, thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.